Hello and welcome to My English Classes Online Intermediate level. In this lesson, we're going to talk about simple present tense. We're going to look at positive sentences, negative sentences, questions, and emphatic sentences. At the end of all of this, we're going to do a recap and show you how to create some sentences of your own. So let's get started. Now, the first thing we need to understand is that we use simple present tense for habits, general truths, scientific facts, unchanging situations or actions. So with that in mind, let's look at some positive sentence examples. Example number 1. The earth rotates around the sun. The earth is our subject, rotates is our verb, and the sun is our object. Rotate means to revolve or to turn around. We know that this is a scientific fact, and that's why we use simple present tense. Let's have a look at our second example. I get up early every day. In this sentence, get up means to wake up or to waken up from sleep. We look at the word every day here because it's an important word that shows us that it is a general truth or an unchanging habit. Our third example, Carol works for a big company. Again, this is an unchanging action, something that she is doing all the time. And number 4, we usually eat dinner before 8 p.m. In this sentence, usually is a very important word. Usually means generally, and we know that when we want to describe something general, we use simple present tense. So that's how we understand that this sentence fits in that group. Now let's have a look at how we would make these sentences negative. To make a negative sentence, we use auxiliary or helping verbs. This is doesn't or don't. For I, you, we, and they, we use don't. And for he, she, and it, we use doesn't. Let's have a look at an example. I don't go to work every day. Because the subject is I, we use don't. And we have every day, which shows us that it is a general situation, so we use simple present tense. Next example, water doesn't freeze when the weather is warm. Doesn't is the shortened version of does not, and it is telling us that the water doesn't freeze, meaning it doesn't turn solid or to ice when the weather is warm. Next example, we do not eat breakfast every morning. Do not can also be don't, and every morning shows us it's a habit, therefore simple present tense. Lastly, Sally does not smoke. Sally is an example of a he, she, or it, and therefore we use does. The next thing for us to understand is how to make a question. With questions, we still use our auxiliary verbs does or do, and we move them to the front of the sentence. For example, does the sun rise in the east? As a short answer, we can say, yes, it does. Or if we want something longer, we can say, yes, the sun does rise in the east. Let's have a look at another one. Do you always get up early? We use do because we have you in the sentence, and get up early means to wake up at an early hour in the day. As a short answer, I can say, no, I don't. Or for something much longer, I can say, no, I don't always get up early. These two questions are yes-no type of questions. And we can also have another type, what, where, who, and when questions. Let's look at 2 examples of that. Our first one is, where do you work? To a question like where do you work, I can give a short answer, in a bank. Or I can give a bit of a longer answer, I work in a bank. Another example is, what do you do on the weekends? A simple answer again would be, I go to the cinema with my friends. So finally, let's have a look at emphatic sentences and when we use them. We make emphatic sentences when we want to make something affirmed or give emphasis. Let's look at an example. In this sentence, I can say, I played tennis. This is a normal, simple present tense sentence. However, once I add do in front of my verb, I have added emphasis. So, I do play tennis. Or, she does study every night. Or another example, we do want to go there. Adding this do adds affirmation and emphasis. Alright, so now let's have a look at how we can create sentences like the ones we've just seen. For a positive sentence, if our subject is I, you, we, or they, we add our verb unchanged. For example, we walk to school every morning. Our verb walk is unchanged. For he, she, and it, we add our verb with an S on the end. For example, she usually eats pasta for lunch. Our verb eat has an extra S on the end. For negative sentences, I, you, we, and they go together with don't or do not, plus our verb unchanged. Let's look at an example. I don't drink coffee at night, or I do not drink coffee at night. For he, she, and it, they go together with does not or doesn't. An example of this would be, Mark doesn't smoke at home. When we're making questions, we use do and does as well. Our do or does goes to the start of the sentence. So, for I, you, we, and they, our do goes to the front and we add our verb. For example, do you go to school every day? Short answer, no, I don't, or yes, I do. For he, she, and it, we use does, and our does goes to the front of the sentence and our verb remains unchanged. For example, does your sister work here? Yes, she does, or no, she doesn't. And that brings us to the end of our simple present tense lesson. Now it's time for you to get working on those activities, and I will see you in the next video.